Talk about context of one of the times that I find myself using a postpartum run readiness screen, and spoiler alert, it's not always postpartum. So I think there's the obvious one where you have somebody that they're kind of coming in from scratch. You see them 2 to 3 weeks after delivery, after that 6-week point. I might do a readiness screen if they've been able to get to 30 to 45 minutes of walking, they're feeling good, they're not symptomatic. That might be a great time to see what else we need to build into before we start a run walk program. I feel like that one's kind of super obvious. And again, that can happen anytime postpartum, because sometimes we don't always see moms that early. Sometimes it's a couple months in. Another time I use it a lot in postpartum is if I have somebody who's already started to run on their own. That can be, anywhere from several weeks postpartum to several months or years postpartum. And I'll use it to go back and see what got missed. So if they're already running, they're symptomatic, they're having issues, then I want to go back and make sure that the foundations are there. And also typically in that screen, I get a sense of what movement looks like, where the deficits are. If it's truly just running and nothing else, that's a great time to do it. And then I'm also doing it a lot with my perimenopausal and menopausal moms, because those of us that are in that vintage, we did not have the resources or the guidance or the guidelines, 8, 10, 15, 20 years ago. We just ran like, all right, well, good luck, see what happens. And so it's almost like we need to go back and ensure that those gaps have been filled. So, and this is anybody, this is, yes, runners, but anybody trying to get back to sport. There's very few sports that you don't want to get a sense of general strength, core strength, hip strength, impact tolerance, balance, those sorts of things. So, I mean, it's kind of limiting to call it a postpartum return to run screen, because it really is a run or activity readiness screen, regardless of kind of where you are in this process. And again, that's sort of the origin. If you go back to the 2019 guidelines, Grania Donnelly, Emma Rockwell, and Tom Goom, it was pulling from what we had in other parts of literature, and most of that was sport and orthopedics, and there happened to be a female involved. So, but yeah, it's one of those things that I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. I had it in a post today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it more. You don't have to pass it. I've seen plenty of patients that don't pass it and they're not symptomatic running, whether it's leakage or prolapse. I've had plenty of patients pass it and still have issues. So it's a tool, but it can be an incredibly informative tool, and it can be really helpful in kind of really narrowing down where there's an issue, or also narrowing down where there might be an issue that maybe we can get ahead of. And unfortunately, we don't have the data yet to say, hey, if I target this now, maybe they won't have an issue later on, and hopefully the research will go there. But again, it's something that there's versions that I had kind of pulled together even pre-2019 guidelines. And then the guidelines came out, and then you've got the Delphi study from last year looking at what most experts, if they're doing some sort of run-in screen, what that looks like. So I think it's an evolution. Helicopter. So if you are active and in any stage of postpartum, perimenopause, that sort of thing, you can DIY it, but again, pay attention to quality over quantity, which is tricky because you don't necessarily know what you're looking for. Or you can do it in conjunction with a postpartum or perimenopause professional like a physio or a coach or a trainer. But if you have zero idea what I'm talking about, I do have a free one you can download. Go to my link in bio, and you can just pull that up and run through it yourself. And definitely DM me any questions. It's meant to be something that's very insightful. You can understand more about yourself. And then, again, I'm all about how little do you need to do so no one dies. So what exactly do you need to be doing so that you can either get started to a walk-run program, or you can target those symptoms and get back and be running much more symptom free. So pop your questions either here in the chat or send me a DM. I'm really curious to see how people are using it and evolving with it.